Hey guys, so I'm hoping that everyone that wanted to get on is on by now, and we're gonna go ahead and start. And hopefully, if anyone joins in, that shouldn't be an issue. And then I'm gonna hand it over to Amy for now.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to NC State's first ever science sprint. My name is Amy, and this is my co-host, Rabia. Science sprints are opportunities to learn about challenging problems that require interdisciplinary and collaborative thinking. We will learn together through case studies, presentations from NC State organizations, and live sessions in the lab. If you want updates for future events, please follow us at STEM Journal Club NCSU on Instagram.
So electronic waste are electronics that have come to the end of their useful life. Can you guys guess some examples of e-waste? You guys can type in the chat or unmute yourself and talk out loud, but does anyone have some examples that they can think of? Yep, cell phones is one, computers, chargers, laptops, batteries, appliances. Oh my God. Yeah, these are actually all great examples. So just reiterating, TV, computers, batteries, cell phones, printers, smart boards, and you guys said a bunch more too.
The largest categories of e-waste include small and large appliances and heating and cooling equipment. So small equipment includes household items like vacuums, microwaves, toasters, and cameras. Large equipment includes washing machines, stoves, and printers. In 2016, only 20% of the global e-waste was recycled, and it contained 55 billion euros worth of gold, silver, copper, and other metals.
E-waste is an issue for ethical, economic, and environmental reasons. And now there should be a poll on your guys' screen. And basically we're trying to get you guys to guess how many tons of e-waste was recycled during 2019 to 2020 in North Carolina. So go ahead and please answer the following poll. All right, so I think most of you guys have answered. So we're gonna go ahead and show the results of that poll. So I think most of you guys answered 12,815 tons, and that is correct. So in North Carolina, 12,815 tons were recycled in 2019 to 2020. But for those who guessed 27,000, you're also technically correct because there was an additional 15,467 tons recycled that were not included in the solid waste tonnage.
There are many issues related to the accumulation of e-waste. E-waste often contains lead, cadmium, and other heavy metals that can cause major harm to the environment and to humans. The disposal methods of e-waste include incineration, open burning, and landfills. These methods can release toxic substances and pollutants, which can leach into soil and groundwater, which has impacts on wildlife, ecosystems, and humans. Some health issues include chronic brain damage, asthmatic bronchitis, DNA damage, and stomach cancer.
E-waste is also an ethical issue because a lot of e-waste is shipped to developing countries where it is placed in huge landfills, leaving underrepresented and underfunded communities to handle this issue. And these two examples of e-waste landfills are in Ghana and Kenya.
During our research project last year, we researched different microbes that can help recycle metals from electronic waste. Bioleaching is a way to recover valuable metals from electronics. Delthea and Cupria vitis both recycle gold. G. oxidants, and C. violaceum both recycle other metals from e-waste.
The reasons why companies are not using microbes to recycle e-waste is because it is not profitable. The process of bioleaching is slow, and the process of recycling precious metals is not efficient. However, scientists are hoping to transfer gold and metal recycling genetic material from lesser known microbes to E. coli, an easy, cheap bacteria. Do you think if this happened, microbes would ever be used by companies to recycle e-waste? And there should be another poll that you guys see. And you guys can kind of think about your reasons because our next question will kind of be like, what are your thoughts? And why do you think that they would or would not use microbes and e-waste recycling in like industries and stuff like that? So I think most everyone has answered, and I'll share the results of that poll. So does anyone have their reasonings to why or why not they think that microbes will be used in e-waste? Again, you can write in the chat or just talk out loud and have a discussion about it.
Hi, my name's Hassan. I think one of the reasons microbes might be used is there's a huge probably a huge economic resource in these e-waste dumps of like rare materials, gold, other metals that if they could be recycled and put into new profits would act as like an economic incentive for these companies to use microbes to recycle this e-waste.
Yeah, I totally agree with you because when we were doing this research, and if you guys have like, heard of the global chip shortage and other stuff like that, where like right now metals are like in a big shortage because everything because of COVID went like towards technology and online and like mass production of technology. And a lot of these metals are used in that. So I feel like in the future, if things stay headed that way, they will need to figure out a way to recycle like metals from electronics more than they do now. Joseph, you said it's a natural process. Do you want to elaborate on that at all? Oh yeah, so microbes help to naturally decompose e-waste. Sorry if I'm breaking up at all, but yeah, so I do think the same way that there was a push for other companies like Apple and Google and Amazon to head towards sustainability because I think most of us realize that companies do need to have a more sustainable future if they're like going to be these mass huge companies. So I do agree that they might look to microbes unless they can find other cheaper alternatives to do it. I think Alana said, I also think if they're made responsible for their products, even after consumers purchase, then they'll look for innovative ways to do it, like microbes. Yeah, because I remember when I was doing my research on this, it kind of reminded me of oil spills and how at first, like, I think companies weren't held responsible, but then, like, as people got more educated about it, they were like, no, you have to clean up oil spills if they happen. And they actually did start using microbes to do that. That's not the only way they do that, but it is implemented as well. Nother said, I think they will begin to use such processes, but the demand and procedure will need to be very much studied as it could be capitally intensive and not produce profit off the bat. Yeah, I totally agree. That's why a lot of companies haven't been recycling gold or other metals because it's just not profitable, especially they don't use microbes because Delphtia acetoborans is very a unique and special little microbe. And I think if they did be, or if they were able to transfer those genes into E. coli, it could be used a lot. It could be like, I guess, mass produced easier because everyone kind of knows how to use E. coli and it's very like cheap to produce. So I definitely agree with that now there. If anyone has any other thoughts, feel free to say in the chat or keep talking about it in the chat and we'll kind of move on.
So the next question is, do you think NC State has an e-waste recycling facility? And there's also a poll that I will post. There it is. Okay, I'll go ahead and share the results. So the correct answer is yes, we do have e-waste recycling here on campus.
So for anyone that didn't know, there are yellow bins located near dumpsters and compost stations around campus for electronic waste recycling. There's also a Wolf Pack and Give at the end of each semester. If you're moving out of your dorm or apartment, think about donating old electronics or anything else this May. In 2021, Wolf Pack and Give donated 9,503 pounds of reusable items to TROSA and Oak City Cares, and they donated 1,631 pounds of food to Feed the Pack food pantry.
While researching e-waste last year, we did an interview with Adam Bensley and Lanny St. Hill from NC State's Waste Reduction Recycling team, who stated that the infrastructure for e-waste recycling is in place at NC State, and now it is the students' job to use it, making it a shared responsibility. However, they did agree that there needs to be more learning opportunities about sustainability and recycling in general.
If you want to learn more, scan this QR code for a case study about e-waste, including podcasts from North Carolina State Recycling Team, North Carolina Department of Environmental Quality, and Powerhouse Recycling, an electronic recycling plant located here in North Carolina. Also, follow us at STEM Journal Club NCSU on Instagram for future updates. I also just saw this in the chat, and someone, I think Eric, Eric wrote, we have the same kind of issue with textiles. A lot of our clothing waste is sent overseas to rot in other countries and landfills, but there's research going on with microbes on breaking it down. I think that's like very important that like these microbes can be used in a lot of different fields, not just in like STEM, I guess, considered fields, because I think almost every big industry produces a lot of pollution and waste. And I think it's interesting how microbes are now thinking about being used as used for the environment. And we also wanted to say, please feel free to contact me or Amy if you want to learn more about the case study or create any sort of infographics or posters, whether that's virtual or in real life, or videos about e-waste recycling or sustainability on campus in general. And please feel free to go ahead and leave in the chat any ways that you think we could improve these science sprints or any future topics that you would like us to discuss. And we're going to go ahead and hand it over to the Zero Waste Wolves so that they can do their presentation.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Sometimes my audio is messed up, but I'll share my screen. My name's Shannon. I am the president of Zero Waste Wolves. Let me start this one. But yeah, I'm the president of Zero Waste Wolves, and this is basically just going to be a continuation of what was just talked about. But yeah, so we're just going to dive right in. So again, there are two aspects of e-waste to me, and they're electronic sustainability and digital sustainability. So we'll touch on both. So sustainable electronics, there are a lot of factors that go into this because electronics are a very complicated part of society. And so it kind of stems a lot from toxic chemicals used to create and what's also given off by e-waste. And so making electronics should be made mindfully and with chemicals that are not harmful to people and the planet. Recyclable parts are another aspect of this, as using things that have been loved once can really increase the lifespan. Things that have gone past from just one person. If one person's done using it, using that part again, there's still value in it. And we'll go into it more. What is still valuable after an electronic is used. There's also reducing the carbon footprint. And this one kind of goes back into the production side of things. So the carbon footprint when you create the product, when you distribute it, when you make it go from store to store, and then when you're actually using it. And then designing things to last. So this one is a really big one because a lot of producers and brands today just make things that will last a year or 8 months, or definitely not something to really stand the test of time. And so we're going to talk about a way to encourage these brands and these companies to make quality products and to encourage them to use high quality materials and high quality processes to ensure that the things that we're buying will last for more than just a year. So kind of going back to the toxic chemicals, and again, how chemicals should be good for people and the planet and not the other way around. Lead is a super big chemical that I feel like is talked a lot about in the electronics industry. And so kind of all three of these have similar adverse effects, really affecting the body. But lead, when it gets into water supplies, it really doesn't do good things for the respiratory system. And same with phthalates and hexavalent chromium. And like I mentioned just now, that all these are really known for leaching into water systems and the atmosphere, which I think is the next slide. Yeah. And so while these chemicals aren't things that we really see day to day, that we're not advertly exposed to, we don't see them right in front of our faces, they are things that we drink and breathe. And this can be a really big problem, especially when filtered water isn't available, or when we're not being conscious of the air that we're breathing, or if we live in a big city or near a landfill. And so these things are definitely things to keep in mind when producers are making things, or when they're considering how they're going to react when they're thrown away into the landfill, because not everything does well in a landfill. And so this is just how we come in contact with these chemicals, even though they're invisible to our eye. So how can we practice sustainability ourselves? I think one of the big ones kind of that I mentioned before was really, do we need this? Do we need the new iPhone that's in a really pretty green color? Probably not. Do we need the new AirPods? Also probably not. And the next stat is pretty crazy, that only 10% of cell phones are recycled, and that we do get new cell phones every 12 to 18 months, which kind of goes back into the built to last. Because I think not only are we filled with this mind of, oh, I need the new thing. I need what just came out so I can be better, or whatever it is, but also building to last. So if my AirPods start dying after a year, which they totally have, or if my phone's battery doesn't continue working, or just anything beyond like laptops or chargers, if they are built to last, then we won't need to buy new ones every 12 to 18 months. And obviously that comes down to producers and brands wanting to really create a bigger profit margin. But I think it's important for them and important for us to encourage them to not look at it that way, but to look at it as what makes the most sense? What will the environment appreciate the most? And also kind of going into this, something that we can actually do to increase the longevity of our electronics is taking care of them and treating them with love. So that means protective cases so that we don't break our phones or our laptops. There are cute ones out there. Believe me, there are so many now. Also surge protectors so that we don't start a fire in our apartment, and leaving devices in our cars or outside. Like if you're by the pool and you leave your phone out in the heat, it might not react very well. So maybe stick it under your towel or leave it at home. And then the last one of charging your phone overnight, this one has kind of changed as things, I should keep, anyways, charging your phone, this one's kind of changing, as I know Apple released something that was like, your phone will stop charging at like 8 a.m. or something. And so that is a really great feature that Apple's done to promote a slow charge, because when you just quickly charge your phone, it not only sucks energy all night, but it also reduces the battery. And so, which will then reduce like the longevity of your phone. And I was reading that Apple recommends, or whatever, the internet recommends, that you should keep your phone battery between 30 and 80% charged. So don't let it die all the way. Also, you don't need to have it at 100 all the time. And so that's something I've had to start being conscious of, because it's definitely satisfying when you wake up and your phone's fully charged, but it's okay if it's at like 85% or something. So definitely that's something that we can all do very easily. Oh, sorry. Unplug. So this was kind of basically the same thing, but what I was talking about when electronics, like we still draw current when they're turned off, that's called phantom load. And basically electronics are a really big culprit of this, that especially TVs and computers and phones, when we think that they're sleeping or turned off, they're definitely not, and they're still pulling energy. And so not only will that increase your utilities bill, which is not fun, but it's also just not good for the environment because you're taking energy that you don't need at all. So just unplug. It's a little more hassle, but it's so worth it. Again, if nothing else, you'll save money. So. And then recycling e-waste, this QR code goes to NC State's recycling that you guys just talked about the yellow bins. And so that's kind of the recycling guide of how should I recycle my electronics, or what electronics can I actually recycle? So that QR code will tell you everything you need to know and probably more. But on here, I've just put like 2 things that I haven't thought about, but taping the terminal ends for your large batteries so that you don't short circuit or start a fire in the dumpster. And then bagging laptops and cell phone batteries so that you can keep them together. And I think that's also having to do with short circuits and fires and stuff. So yes, recycle your e-waste at NC State. We love when you do that. Okay, and now we're going to go into digital sustainability, which honestly is surprising to me that this is a thing, but it was really interesting to research. So yeah, like I said, that it's not just our hardware electronics creating this sustainability problem. It's actually the internet and the Wi-Fi and the things that we send online that can contribute to greenhouse gases. Oops, sorry. Okay, this slide has a lot of information on it, but let me just break it down. So the first top of the screen just basically says that there are a lot of people using the internet. The second part says that all these people using the internet make up 3.7% of global greenhouse emissions. And then further, it says that's almost the same as the airline industry, which is insane when you think about it. And even more, that the emissions from the internet is going to double in the next 4 years, which mind blown that we're going to top the airline industry in greenhouse emissions. And we're going to talk about kind of how that happens and what we can do to combat that. Oh, but first we're going to talk more stats. So 10 years ago, this was in Australia, but they were responsible for almost 180 pounds of carbon dioxide emitted into the atmosphere. And so I can only imagine what it is now. And in the US, I bet that is a really high number. And then the second one is kind of more on how this happens, but one less thank you email, or one less email in general, can save 16,000 tons of carbon a year, which does a lot, as you can see in terms of cars. And so I think this photo is really fun because it kind of shows how exactly carbon emissions are created, not how exactly, but an idea of how carbon emissions are created. And it all kind of comes down to, you send an email, it takes energy to send that email. And so the bigger email you send, or the bigger research paper you download off the internet or whatever it is, like that takes energy somewhere, and that adds up when there's a bunch of users on the internet. So just something to keep in mind. Like if you can avoid saying a thank you email, maybe avoid saying a thank you email, because those are awkward anyways. Okay, so how do you trim zero waste wolves? Well, we have 2 more meetings this semester. We have one next Monday, which we're going to be making our own rags, like paper towels and or cotton rags. So we're going to be selling those. And I think we're also going to be doing a soap making event, or I'm going to be doing the soap making and then passing out the soaps to the members. So if you're interested, you can come by 7 p.m. in Fox 204 both weeks. And then you can request to become a member on our Get Involved, which is just Zero Waste Wolves. And then follow us on Instagram, because we post pretty much all of our events on there. And I know a lot of us have Instagram, so that's an easy way. So more than electronic sustainability, the Zero Waste Wolves does a lot of different projects on campus. And one of them is we've worked with DH Hill. I think this was a few years ago, because I think these bins are well established now. But we basically removed a bunch of mini desk trash bins in the book stacks, which are, I think, the top 7 floors or something of Hill. But so we got rid of those, and now they have bigger trash bins with next to recycling bins. So it encourages students to get up and actually make a decision about how they're going to sort their waste, or if they're going to sort their waste. And so it's a really great initiative, and it's still around now. If you're in the book stacks, you'll see that. So that is a super big project that we're really proud of. We're also really proud of our paper towel composting project. We actually won a sustainability fund, which is a grant that NC State does. And we won this in 2019, 2020. We won 2 of them. And so we got funding to basically create little paper towel composting sets for students who live in suite style dorms. And we've expanded to every suite style dorm on campus. And we've been doing this since 2019. We've been doing it through COVID. And even now, as we kind of shift into a more normal, we're still keeping it up. And so we're really excited for next fall, where we can do a huge thing at like Wolfpack Welcome Week, we're hoping. And so those are, I think, our 2 big projects that we're most proud of. And hopefully we have more to come, because we keep applying to these sustainability funds. And so hopefully we'll have another project in the fall initiated. So fingers crossed. They announced that like in 2 weeks. So that's exciting. Yeah, these are the sources. So that's all I have. I'll pass it back to you guys. Here we go.
Thank you so much, Shannon from Zero Waste Wolves, for that presentation. And thank you everyone for attending our first science sprint. We will have more in the future, and we hope that you all will join us again. Feel free to leave any topics or subjects that you'd like to see in the future. And thank you again, everyone, and have a good night.
Thank you.
Great job.
This was so cool.
I learned a lot.
Amazing.
That was really fun. That was super fun.
Thank you, Shannon and
Absolutely.
Amy and Robert. You really great. Allison, thank you for joining us. And thank you for supporting this. As always, the libraries are our enablers and empowerers here.
So happy to see some of the product. This was awesome, y'all.
88 people, first round. So more ideas to come. And I think if we keep it at 30, 40 minutes, I think that's a good time frame.
Yeah. This was excellent.
Enough for
Y'all
people
did
to
such
stay
an impressive job.
Thank you guys so much. It means a lot. Yeah, I was nervous, but I think it went well. I'm so glad people participated.
Y'all
Thank you.
generated.
So think about next topics and next ideas and next groups. And Shannon, I hope we can continue doing stuff for biotech and sustainability, the class, and continuing these
Absolutely.
discussions. So what's the next? You presented the problem. So what's the next topic?
Are you asking us?
Oh yeah.
I wasn't sure if you're asking us or generally.
Generally asking everyone.
I think the next step is to first pass finals.
Passing finals would be good.
Finish the semester off well.
Mhm. Does the next topic have to be about e-waste?
About whatever we'd like.
Because we can keep going with like the sustainability route. Because Eric, he commented about like the
That was
clothing
so
waste, which is
interesting.
another huge environmental issue, especially now with like fast fashion and
Fast
stuff like
fashion.
that. Yeah, so we could do something like that. I don't know if microbes well, he mentioned that microbes do play like a role in that, so we could definitely do research about that and
Yeah, I
dive
feel
into
like
that.
textiles in general always gets left out when it comes to research, or like it always gets left out of like STEM topics, even though our like textiles, I think someone told me it's like one of the best, it's the best in the nation, like our textiles program. And it's like, and they do a lot of really cool research in various areas.
I love my microbes, but we have to expand and think about the chemistry and the textiles and Carly bring in some plants and
You know,
different things.
If we want to go that textile route, we should think about collaboration and including some voices from the
Yeah.
textile program too, because
Yes.
it's incredible. And
You
we
know
can
what's so
brainstorm with them.
interesting? I actually, right before this video, I was on this like presentation, I was on TikTok, and there was this like it was from Insider, and it's basically in India they're using banana plants, like the ends of banana plants, and they're creating like pads out of the fiber, like sustainable pads. And it's like a huge industry now, which I was like, I didn't even know about that. But it's kind of cool how they're using like plants and fibers and sustainability and textiles. It's a huge industry, I feel like.
Plants are cool. I'm not biased though.
Not
Yeah.
I'm in
biased.
textiles and I know that they're doing a ton of research on hemp over here. So
Oh,
if
wow.
that's an avenue that you're interested in, like how hemp fibers are like becoming basically the next big thing, then this is your place. This is where you should go.
Thank you. No, we'll definitely stay in touch for our next event, and hopefully we can do something with sustainability and textiles. That seems like a pretty interesting topic.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you guys again so much for having me join you guys. This is so fun.
Yeah, we'll have to do more. And I interrupted you, so
All right, bye guys.
bye. I know you have exams coming up and things, so maybe the next one we can schedule something where it's either someone else or a viewing or something simple.
Yeah, maybe
And-
I was thinking like second or third. So we're thinking if we did do something, maybe like the second week of April would be best. And maybe we could definitely talk to professors in the textile and students in the textile industry and see if they would want to present. Because again, I just feel like they're always left out of the conversation.
I love thinking about who we can include and bringing voices that are experts to the stage. That makes me excited.
Yeah.
So think about it, and you did awesome. This was fun.
I
And
was so
Allison,
surprised that people were
Congratulations.
talking. I was so happy, so relieved.
yes, and thank you for calling me. I
Mhm.
was finishing something up and I was like, oh yes, I should send out the link.
Yeah, we were just like, oh my God, is no one gonna join? No one has the link. But I'm
Yeah.
so.
Two things. Think about the future sprints, our second sprint. Who, as Carly mentioned, who are we including? Who are we not including? How we can make it include more discussions. And sprints are really focused, condensed time for thinking and sharing ideas. And the other two things are, remember to clock in and get compensated for your time and brain power.
I haven't
And-
clocked in all week. I'm just gonna clock in
Yes.
tomorrow.
I forgot
And
again.
the others, just send me your times. And the other two things
I
are,
forgot to clock in for this too.
send me your times. We're still recording and my mom is still on here. So
Oh.
I am going to go do stuff.
All
I
right.
tend to work. We tend
I'll
to.
add one more thing onto the to-do list real quick as we all leave and head off in our different directions, which is take good care of yourselves.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Great.
Hydrate. That's a way you can take care of yourselves. Do
Mhm.
not, self-care is not optional. You got to do it. Have it on the to-do.
Rest balls.
Is this your
I'm
mom? Oh, hi.
Thanks
Hello,
for
Lucy.
coming.
Thank you.
Oh, you're
mu-
muted.
You're muted.
Unmute. You're wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You did great.
And you did it all. So think about
Yeah.
what you want to do next and who we should include. Yeah.
Me and AB will get to it.
Your notes were excellent. I was like, what do I have to do? Your slides are perfect. Your outline. Oh, I
my
see a cat, Carly.
Hi, kitten.
Sweet
Yeah.
Tea is on the call. He says,
Aw, lovely.
That's such a good name.
my cats are always
Tea.
on my Zoom calls.
They're adorable.